Welcome back to the channel, friends. Today I want to take you on a bit of a deeper, more thought-provoking journey. A journey that bridges the spooky season we all know as Halloween with something that's very real in all of our lives. Yep, I'm talking about our setbacks, our dark nights, our traumas, and our shadows. You know, Halloween wasn't always about costumes, candies, and fun parties. Originally, it was seen as a time when the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest. A time of ghosts, goblins, witches, warlocks, and other things that go bump in the night. It was a season filled with fear and superstition. And honestly, that's kind of like what our hardest and most difficult times feel like. Our own ghost, the fears we never face, and our own personal witches and warlocks, the painful stories we tell ourselves over and over again. But fast forward to now, and Halloween looks totally different. Now we kids, we dress up as princesses, kids dress up as superheroes, chefs, doctors, nurses, and the list goes on and on. Does that mean that the fear and the dread of Halloween for some of us went away? No, I believe the fear is still here, especially for those who love to embrace the spooky side of that season. But we also now make fun and we make room for light, for creativity and imagination. And that right there is so very powerful. That simple shift is a perfect metaphor for what happens when we take the most painful chapters of our past and look at them through different and new lenses. Because you see, all of us have shadows, some darker than others. Every one of us, we have shadows that's made up of pain, shadows of regrets, shadows of trauma, failures, losses. The things that we hide are those that make us feel vulnerable. And like the ghosts and goblins of Halloween past, these shadows can feel haunting. These shadows can feel oh so real. I mean, sometimes they're so present and feel so real that they chase us into the night. You know, the restless nights of our souls, where we toss and we turn, unable to sleep, never quite able to fully get a good night rest, because something from our past keep resurfacing and keeps growling at us. But here's the thing about shadows, and I want you to really let this sink in. Your past and your future are like shadows. They cannot touch you. They cannot physically harm you. Yet, they can feel so real and so powerful, but only if we allow them. Your shadows possess only the powers you ascribe to them. Your fear of them is actually what breathes life into them. And that fear can cause you great pain and anxiety. Fear can cause you to stay frozen in places, too scared to move forward into who you were meant to become. Fear can cause you to see every new opportunity as a threat and every new day as a battleground. And that fear, not the shadow itself, is often what truly harms us. But what if you had the power to transform those shadows into something beautiful and meaningful by simply turning on the lights? Because we all know that shadows only exist in the dark. What if you woke up one day and decided to do what we do every year with Halloween? What if you decided to change the narrative surrounding your pain? What if you decided to put a new costume on that shadow of yours? Imagine it. Imagine taking that dark, terrifying ghost and turning it into something powerful. Something that has the potential to empower not only yourself, but others. That memory of that loss or failure or trauma? What if you told yourself it was a stepping stone toward your greatest achievement? What if you told yourself that it was just a setback for your comeback? The past betrayal? What if you decided that it was a lesson in self-worth and self-love that you were meant to receive so that you can appreciate true loyalty and real friendship moving forward? And what about that deep-seated fear? What if you begin to see it as a signal that you are about to grow into someone you never thought you could become? Those are all examples of what true transformation really looks like. That is what real healing feels like. When we take those stories, when we reclaim those memories, remove them from the shadows and the crevices of our mind and put them into a new light. And now we don't see them as terrifying ghosts and goblins and phantoms, but we see them more like wise old teachers. And suddenly your past can give you understanding instead of regret. Your pain can give you wisdom instead of bitterness. Your fear can give you courage instead of insecurity. And your most difficult nights can give you morning lights that shines brighter than you even thought was possible. And do you know what the most beautiful part is? It's that the transformation happens not outside of you, but inside of you. And you, my friend, yes, you have that power. You have that power to make that shift. It all begins in your mind. Believe it or not, every day that you wake up, you get to choose what your story looks like. You get to reframe the picture in your mind, and you get to change the narrative and the story that you tell yourself and about your situation. And no, this is not about denial, because we cannot undo the past, nor can we deny what happened to us. The experience, they were real. The pain, the betrayal, the abandonment, and the hurt, all of those were real. But once we can say to ourselves, yes, this happened. Yes, it hurt. Now, Lord, please open my eyes and help me to see exactly what this experience came to teach me. And I truly believe that once we can identify the lessons in the experiences, that's when we begin to heal. And that's the moment when we can now change the narrative we tell ourselves about ourselves and the experiences. And just like Halloween itself, our dark nights, they don't have to stay dark forever. As Halloween shifted from purely eerie traditions into a holiday also filled with joy, playfulness, and light, so can you shift your inner landscape. Yes, your witches can become wise women and wise men. Your monsters, they can become mascots of your resilience. Your goblins, they can become guides who teach you how to navigate your inner world. And yes, even your most difficult memories can wear a crown. They can become like princesses or heroes in your personal story. The one who survived the most difficult battles and yet emerges victorious. That's what I mean when I say that your shadows cannot hurt you. Your past and your failure are like shadows, intangible and formless unless you give them shape. and they only possess the power that you ascribe to them. But the most amazing thing is you can change the script. Your fears don't have to haunt you forever. Your losses, they don't have to define you forever. Your past mistakes don't have to hold you hostage or hold you back forever. So know that yes, you can reclaim your power and your peace of mind. And you must. Oh yes, you must. You must reclaim your story. And so I challenge you to begin to see your shadows as a source of power, as a source of resilience and strength. And yes, this is a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. And the same way, transforming Halloween into a fun and bright celebration took time. It took decades and centuries. So will your healing. Your healing will take time. So be patient with yourself and give yourself lots of grace and lots of love. And know that with every small step you take, steps like forgiving yourself, forgiving someone who hurt you, finding meaning where there was only pain, choosing compassion over judgment, slowly but surely you will begin to see light where there was once only darkness. And eventually, guess what? Those shadows, they will become like dancers in the firelight of your spirit, an intricate part of who you are, a part that reminds you of your strength and your resilience. And so, my friends, if you're listening to me right now, feeling as if you're in a dark season, feeling as though you're haunted by things you cannot change, I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to close your eyes and remember that those shadows cannot touch you unless you give them permission to do so. And I want you to visualize yourself rewriting your own story. Yes, pick up that invisible pen. Yes, that imaginary pen, and begin to change the narrative. Take that ghost and dress it in a prince or princess outfit. Take that witch and let her become a healer. Let her become a teacher. Take that terrifying monster and make it your most cherished superhero. You are allowed to do so. Yes, you have permission to do that. And even more than that, you deserve to do that, because you deserve to see your life for what it truly is. A beautiful, evolving story of growth, power, resilience, wisdom, creativity, and grace. And when you do, my friend, when you do, you will discover that what once scared you can become a source of empowerment. That what once broke you can become the reason you stand taller today. That what once felt like a Halloween nightmare can be celebrated like a hallelujah morning. That is your power, and this is your invitation. And so, as we close today, I want you to reflect on this powerful shift. This shift from fear to empowerment, from dark to light, and from setback to comeback. And I want you to leave with this question. How can you use the two sides of Halloween, the spooky and the sweet, as an example of how you can flip the story of your own trauma, of your own pain and shame? And as you reflect, always remember that your past and your future are like shadows. They only possess the power that you ascribe to them. They only possess the power and the strength that you give them. And so I encourage you today, turn on the lights. Transform those witches into wisdom. Transform your pain into passion and power and purpose. And turn your own personal Halloween into a hallelujah moment where you can sing, where you can laugh and celebrate the rest of your life, come what may. And as always, I encourage you to share your thoughts, share your stories, share the moment when you flipped the script, when you turned on the light, and you began to tell yourself a different story. I can't wait to hear your stories. Please leave them in the comments, because remember, you never know. Your voice may just be the voice that inspires someone else to transform their shadows into light. So go ahead, do tell your story. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for being here. See you next time.